This is the Awakening with Kelvin Phiri podcast, and you're listening to the Bridges to Prosperity series, where we reimagine Africa's future, one bold conversation at a time. In today's episode, we ask a question that strikes at the core of our economic identity as a nation. What has Zambia really gained from exporting raw copper since independence? And even more critically, what have we lost by failing to process that copper here at home? Zambia's copper legacy, the foundation. Since gaining independence in 1964, Zambia has leaned heavily on copper to sustain its economy. Copper remains our number one export, contributing more than 70% of our foreign exchange earnings. It's the heartbeat of our economy. In the year 2023, Zambia exported approximately 800,000 metric tons of copper. Most of that copper left our borders in its raw state, copper cathode. At the time, the global price for raw copper averaged around 8,500 United States dollars per metric ton. Do the math and you'll find that Zambia earned roughly 6,800,000,000 United States dollars from copper exports that year. On the surface, that figure looks impressive, but when you take a deeper look, it becomes clear we're not exporting wealth, we're exporting potential. The real money lies not in what we dig out of the ground, but in what we choose to do with it before it leaves our soil. What's the real value? The misfortune. Let's take just 1 metric ton of copper and follow its journey. If Zambia exports it as raw copper cathode, it brings in about $8,500. That's what we've been doing for decades. But what if that same ton of copper were processed into copper wire? Copper wire is used in almost everything today, from electric cars and smartphones to power lines and household electronics. That same copper, now refined and formed into wire, can sell for up to $25,000 per ton. That's nearly 3 times the value of raw copper. Now imagine this. If Zambia had decided to process just 25% of our copper exports, 200,000 tons, and sell it as copper wire, we would have earned $5 billion from that processed portion alone. But under the current model, we earn only $1,700,000,000 for the same amount of copper in raw form. That means we are losing out on over $3 billion every single year, simply because we are not adding value. To put that into perspective, that money could fund nationwide infrastructure development, double our healthcare budget, or improve our entire education system. We are sitting on a gold mine, yet choosing to sell the dust instead of the treasure. Why haven't we done it? This question has lingered for years, and it deserves an honest answer. Processing copper is not a small task. It requires serious infrastructure, smelters, wire plants, and high-end refineries. It requires reliable electricity, and as we all know, Zambia's power supply has struggled in recent years, especially due to climate droughts affecting hydropower generation. There is also the legacy of economic models imposed from outside, policies that encouraged us to dig, export, and rely on foreign buyers to do the rest. Our economy became structured around extraction rather than transformation. Investment has largely gone into mining, not manufacturing. Skills development has favored geology over industrial engineering. Our universities train miners, but few graduates are equipped to run a processing plant or design copper-based electronics. And of course, the mindset hasn't always favored innovation. For decades, exporting raw materials was seen as the norm. but normal does not mean optimal. The path forward, turning the tide. Now imagine something different. Picture a Zambia where two fully fledged copper processing hubs operate in the Copper Belt and the Northwestern Province. Imagine partnerships with global companies to manufacture solar batteries, electric car components, or copper wiring systems. Imagine Zambian youth trained to run these operations, design the products, and innovate in ways we've never allowed ourselves to dream. Think of diaspora communities investing not just in flats and farms, but in copper wire plants, electrical cable production lines, and small-scale manufacturing units. We don't even need to wait to process all our copper. If we start with just 10%, we could bring in an additional $1 to $2 billion per year. That's money kept in Zambia, recycled in our economy, and used to transform lives. Closing reflection: from dust to destiny. My brothers and sisters, this isn't just about copper. It's about value, it's about ownership, and it's about vision. For too long, Zambia has been the warehouse of the world, supplying raw materials for others to build their futures. But now, we must ask ourselves, when will we begin building our own? We don't need to mine more. We need to mine smarter, we need to refine, we need to process, and we need to own every step of the value chain. This is the Awakening with Kelvin Phiri podcast, and this is Bridges to Prosperity. We don't talk for the sake of talking, we talk to transform. Let this be the generation that turns dust into destiny. Let this be the moment we stop selling ourselves short and start building for the long haul. Until next time, keep building, keep dreaming, and keep believing, because the future is African and it begins with us. If this episode inspired you, send it to someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to join us on YouTube at Building Dreams in Africa, where we turn these ideas into action.